I'd like to call to order the Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Wednesday, September 4th at 7 p.m. The first agenda item, apologize, I just want to introduce Margaret Bacon as our newest zoning board member. She was appointed by the selectmen a couple weeks ago, and we welcome Margaret.
Thank you.
The first agenda item is a public hearing for Scott Tessier. The following was advertised in the Worcester Telegram and Gazette and posted in the Town Hall, and it reads as follows. Scott Tessier has filed for a special permit pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 9, and the Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.3, Section 3.2.1, Number 5, garaging and parking of commercial vehicles, and Number 6, landscaping or contracting business in a rural agricultural RA zone district to park more than one commercial vehicle on property located at 19 Cobblestone Lane, Assessors Map 189, Parcel 39.4. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the application is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Our staff has notified me that we did receive the certified mailings that were mailed out, and the members that will be voting on this case are myself, Mr. Fitzpatrick, Mr. Forget, Mr. Palmer, and Ms. Bacon. So, is the applicant or the representative here? Do you want to join us, sir? Good evening. So, we did receive your application, and then if you wanted to give us a brief rundown.
Hello, my name is Scott Tessier. I'm the owner of 19 Cobblestone Lane, which is located in Stonegate Estates off of Franklin Street. We own 2.3 acres on this parcel. So I'm a contractor, I own my own business. I get hired to move empty shipping containers to and from different job sites all over New England. I'm here before you tonight to request a special parking permit for my primary daily vehicles. In the binders that I provided, you'll find images of my vehicles. I have the truck and 2 trailers. All 3 vehicles are non-CDL vehicles, meaning they're under 26,000 pounds, and they don't require any special license to operate. I also included a picture of the door tag, which shows an empty weight on the truck, 9,300 pounds. In the binder, I also have the plans for a 3-car garage we're currently in the process of trying to build. We just finished with conservation last week, so we're hoping to start construction before the winter time. The garage is actually going to sit 330 feet away from the main road at the rear of my property. It's going to be a stick-built garage with vinyl siding, and it will match my primary residence with an asphalt driveway leading up to it from my driveway. This garage is going to be used for my primary vehicles and other storage needs. It's going to allow me the opportunity to keep my equipment out of the elements while improving the aesthetic and value of my property and neighborhood. The garage is strictly just for personal use. There's no business at my property. I don't have any inventory at my property, and I don't allow any customers to my home for any reason. I just leave to go to work and I come back. So I typically leave 9 a.m. on a Monday, and I'm back Friday by 5 o'clock, like the average worker. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Okay, just to explain to people, we normally open up questions from the board to the applicant, and then we'll open up, and anybody in the room that would like to make a comment, we'll open up, and we would just ask everybody not to speak until you're recognized, and if you could just direct any questions to me, and I will attempt to get the answer for you. So, are there any board members that have questions of the applicant?
The first thing that Mr. Chairman.
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
Consistent with the violation notice that was issued on May 21st in Appendix A, of our use regulations. Number 16, contracting business and equipment storage yard is not allowed under RA. It is under a Board of Appeals for RC1 and RC2, and in commercial or industrial, but it says right here, specifically says not allowed. And what I'm also looking for is, in here, for whatever reason, I'm not finding it quickly, you're prohibited for 26,000 pound trucks
Can you speak
in a
up?
residential area.
Here.
You know, wait, pull that microphone, they can't.
I probably should move it.
No one's ever said they couldn't hear Mike Fitzpatrick in the past.
Yeah, there's a first time for everything. So anyways, I'll repeat what I just said. Consistent with the violation notice that was issued on May 21st, 2024, it calls out Appendix A in our zoning regulation book for use regulations. And number 16 in Appendix A, a contracting business or equipment storage yard is not allowed in an RA zone. It is allowed by Board of Appeals, which is this board under RC1 and RC2, and also under commercial and industrial. In this book, which is what I've been looking for the last couple minutes, and I'll find it, you're prohibited from having 26,000 pound vehicles in a residential area, yard. That's just, I don't really have any.
You're allowed by right. One. By special permit.
Okay, page 11, okay. Chairman bailed me out and told me where it was. As of right, one commercial vehicle, 26 GVW or less may be garaged or parked on a residential premises. By special permit, the Board of Appeals may authorize more than one such. Okay, so the problem that I have with that, Mr. Chairman, is under Appendix A, I would think that would, my interpretation, that would apply to, just bear with me for a minute, I'll get it. That would apply to RC1 and RC2 as well as industrial and commercial, right? Is not allowed in RA, is not allowed in VR, it's not allowed in VB, village residential or village business. And whatever that other one is. So when I read that on page 11, I don't think it applies to the RA zone. That's my interpretation. I don't know if anybody else has any opinion on that.
I'm trying to, whereabouts are you looking?
Page 11 in the zoning book.
Page 11 is the,
In the zoning book.
you got the zoning book there? All right, so take this one, right? So he read this.
Yeah,
right?
and I saw the same thing too, yeah?
It's under 3.2.1.
Yeah. Yeah. right
Okay,
here.
so you
Yeah.
have that, right?
Yeah.
But when you go to this, wait a minute. Flipping too many pages here. Contracting business, equipment storage yard, RA. It is in, you can do Board of Appeals under RC1 and RC2.
But you can't on that. Right.
So that's my interpretation. I don't know. what
I
you
think you're
guys
right.
Think about it.
And it's
That's the only-
GVW with a
that's
truck,
the only-
not the actual.
Yep, so the
you know,
GVW
scale
is
weight.
Yep.
26,000, so it falls under CDL truck. As per the order that was issued. That was more of, I was coming home and I was washing a container, and I would come home with a container. But since we received that order, I stopped coming home with any containers. I have a different storage yard where I leave all my containers. So I'm not coming home with anything. It's just my truck when I go to work and then I come back.
Yep.
And again, moving forward, there are no containers that will be coming to the property at all. I have everything at the ports that I pay a monthly fee to just store them there, and when I need them, I bring them right to the job sites. So nothing's coming back to the house. And I went over it with the building inspector when it was first issued and explained it all to him. And I haven't heard anything since then.
You did get a violation from him.
Yep, I got that
Okay.
on May, and that's when I came in to speak with the building inspector about it.
Okay.
It was more about the containers coming to the property, driving through, and I would wash it, or I'd wait, like I came home for lunch or a day, and I would leave it on my truck, and then I go do a delivery. But since we received the orders, and now I have a new lot that I have set up to store my containers, I don't bring anything to the house. It's just strictly my truck and my trailer, and it just stayed at the back of my garage.
Any other board members have any comments?
Well, I just have a comment, Mr. Chair. I noticed in the application here, we're asking for a special permit from section 3.2.1, accessory uses in a residential, and then section 5, garaging or parking of commercial vehicles. So if I look at section 5, it says garaging or parking of commercial vehicles as of right, one commercial vehicle of 26,000 GVW or less may be garaged or parked on the residential premises, correct? So that by right. So the other two
The trailer.
trailers,
So, if I may, when I first started, I didn't view the trailers as commercial, because when you look at the registration, it says TRN, trailer, and the truck, it will say commercial. So I brought that up with the building inspector, and he states that he believed because it was still used for business, it falls under commercial, so that's why we should apply for a special permit for the trailers. And I didn't know that before.
so we're not asking for a special permit for landscaping or contracting business,
Right.
correct?
Yeah, I don't run the business out there. It's just my personal garage will be used to put everything away, keep it looking nice.
And where is your business located?
So I have a building in Webster, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
We actually used to own a factory there, and since COVID time, we've transitioned into renting it out. So I have some storage lots there, and then I basically keep containers at ports from Jersey to Worcester, and I just bring them wherever my job sites need me.
So what pulls those trailers?
The truck. So
That truck that's
That
in this?
Ram truck.
I got a Ram truck,
The
a
red
Ram
truck.
3500, that's my father's truck. That can come to my house a day, but he also takes it to his property too. It's more of like a shared truck. But the rollback we keep parked here sometimes. It's just not every day. A couple days maybe here, other days it's not.
And there's a reason you don't want to keep your vehicles at
Well, at
Webster?
Webster, we don't really have the room because we rented the property out. And the other issue is when I leave, that would also give me another half hour to get there, another half hour to try to load up. It's just more time than to have the garage in my backyard and just to be able to go.
So you plan on keeping these vehicles in that garage?
Yep. So it'll be the 3-car garage. So the 2 trailers and the truck will go inside. And everything will be completely closed. You won't be able to see anything from the street. It's about 330 feet back, and it sits over on a bluff. So when you're driving by, it's really far back there.
So that'll utilize that
Yep.
entire space?
Right, it's all just up along the trunk line in the trees, basically.
Just out of curiosity, what's the GVW on the trailers?
On the trailer, 14,000 pounds. Yep, empty weight is 6,000 pounds. It's just more of like a container chassis. There's no
Yeah.
decks on it or anything.
Yeah, they gooseneck trailers.
Yep.
yeah.
Gooseneck.
Anybody else would like to speak?
I don't have any right now. I make them all. but-
Okay. Is there anybody, first of all, if you'd like to speak, you just have to state your name and address for the minute taker who is not here. She's going to review the tape and make our minutes. So if you want to be heard, just raise your hand, I'll recognize you, and state your name, address, and your question or comment. So, is there anybody who'd like to speak?
I'll go first.
Ma'am?
Yes, Nancy Stockwell, 11 Cobblestone Lane. My husband Ed is here with me too. I just want to say, obviously, this is something that's very sensitive because we have a very wonderful neighborhood. We all care about each other. It's a very beautiful, quiet community. These homes are our biggest assets, our biggest debts. You know, we need to protect that, and that's the only reason why we're here, is to do that. And it's our responsibility to maintain the value of our homes. So I would just ask the board, if you're considering this, how you would tell the residents how you will police this, because we do see containers, and I don't know how, you know, we all don't want to have to police our neighborhood. We want to live our lives, raise our kids, go to work. We don't want to have to be, you know, the person that calls and says there's another container because you've allowed, the zoning board has allowed this special permit.
Okay. All right. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak? Sir?
Hi, Anthony Jennings, 12 Meeting House Lane. I've been a resident of Stonegate Estates for about 10 years now. I purchased a home from Cafferty Homes. At the time, I was made aware that there was deed restrictions that I have in my hand for Stonegate Estates. My understanding is the term is still in effect. I do understand that whatever the decision that the board has today has no impact on the deed restriction, but the deed restriction is still valid in my understanding. And if I could just, for the record and just for everybody's awareness, read maybe one paragraph from the deed restriction.
Yep, go ahead, sir.
So, Section 5, Part B, vehicles. Unless screened in a reasonable manner from view, no large boats, trailers, homes, campers, or unregistered vehicles shall be placed, parked, or stored on the lots. Large commercial vehicles or heavy equipment of any kind are prohibited by owners for storage on lots unless construction is in process.
Okay.
So all I just have to say, I mean, for my input was the reason that I purchased into this neighborhood, and I'd imagine a lot of other lots or homeowners, was because of this deed restriction. My neighbor purchased from Henny Homes. I believe they signed pretty much the same deed restriction.
Yep.
So I know that this has no bearing on any special permit, but again, just, I would like to say that I feel like the reason that I went into this neighborhood was because of a lot of, I mean, I'm not going to read obviously every section in here, but it was in particular for issues like this.
Right. No, I understand.
If I may address that.
1 second, sir.
I actually have the covenants with me, and we've talked to the lawyers. They are expired. They were good for 25 years, and they were registered back in 1997.
Nope, that's 2007 reported.
Yeah, they started.
Don't go back and forth.
Yeah.
You need to go through the chair.
Through
Yep,
the board.
excuse me.
Yep.
But through my attorney, they were started in 1997 when Rafferty started building the development. And since, the new homes that have been purchased from 2020 onwards, nobody has had to sign any covenants because they are expired.
Yeah. Well, one thing I can say, is the covenants are a civil matter. There's nothing the town can do to enforce them. It's basically, you'd hope that everybody would comply with them, and if not, it definitely is a civil matter, not a town matter. So,
That lady over there is being patient.
ma'am?
Amanda King, 23 Cobblestone Lane. Actually, two things, if I might. We purchased our home and built it in 2021, and at that time, we received anonymously in the mail the covenants for the neighborhood, which we consulted our lawyer and was told, in fact, that they were expired. Second thing, being the direct neighbor, without any foliage, anything, probably the closest neighbor. My husband and I, Richard, have had no issues. We're not concerned for safety. We have 5 sons. Everything has been safe. He is very respectful of his neighbors. I personally have not had any issues or don't see any issues with him being able to store his vehicles or trailers. And regards to the covenants, I've seen trailers, boats, everything, so it's kind of doesn't make sense to only point it out to one person.
Okay. Anybody else? Ma'am?
Joanne Nason, 26 Cobblestone Lane. I also built a house in the neighborhood knowing that it would be a beautiful neighborhood with children and walking dogs and kids riding bikes. And to see the big red truck from my house bothers me. It's like, I feel like the value of my home goes down because of what I'm looking at over in his property. And he can say that he's moving it to the back of the lot or hiding it or whatever, but it's there. And to me, that's like a trucking company. He's gonna drive that truck out on our streets with kids, with bikes, and it's a big truck. I'm sorry that it doesn't meet the requirements to keep it home. I mean, keep it somewhere else, but it bothers me.
Okay. I did have a question about that. You claim you're a contractor. Just from information I've seen, it appears to me you're in the trucking business.
So I get hired to move, like I'm contracted to move the empty containers to and from different locations. But besides that, I don't truck anything else. I'm not for hire, I don't do anything besides that. It's strictly just my empty containers. And then I go job site to job site, or if it takes me to somebody for their backyards or wherever I'm actually needed.
Okay. Just give me a minute. In the zoning bylaws, it has a definition for a contractor.
It's right on the cover of the application.
Thank you. Help each other out here, Mike. It says that a contractor yard is premises used by a building contractor
Okay.
or a subcontractor for storage of equipment and supplies, fabrication of subassemblies, and parking of wheeled equipment. So I'm not sure that you fall under...
So my company is actually called MAT Properties. So it's technically property management because we own the building in Webster. We manage that property with our things. And then on site, on the bottom of our parking lot, we have our rental containers. And that's how the business expanded into, I also get hired to move the shipping containers. So if you look me up, it's just Matt Properties as a property maintenance. We fix our buildings. We go to other job sites for the storage itself, and then we move them where need to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure that falls under the town bylaw description of a contractor. But, is there anybody else that would like to speak? Ma'am?
Joanne Nason again. It seems like a trucking company to me. I mean, I have pictures of him when he parks it on the road, we have to stop to go around it. It's a trucking company.
Yeah.
In our opinion, it's a trucking company.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gentleman with the hat.
I mean, through the board, I guess.
I just need your name and address.
Sorry, 12 Meeting House Lane, Anthony Jennings.
Okay.
Through the board, if you do approve this special permit, and it's for the inventory that Mr. Taser has now, doesn't it still open it up for bigger equipment in the future and bigger volume down the streets of our neighborhood?
That's certainly a possibility. Anybody
If you
else?
don't mind, Mr. Chairman, you can condition approvals and limit that, so
Okay.
that woman again.
Yep. Ma'am?
Joanne again. Who's going to police them? I mean, are we...
We're not even at that point, I was just answering his question.
I had asked the question, who's going to police it? Nancy Stockwell from 11 Cobblestone Lane.
Well, that would be the zoning official, which is the building inspector. He's the zoning official agent, so that's, if there was a complaint, that's where it would go through.
Meaning we're policing it and then we complain to that person. So we're policing it initially and then.
Or you're asking who from the town side would enforce the conditions of an approval, right? Or a zoning violation or something, just as this violation notice came in, it came in from the building official. That's our zoning enforcement agent. All we are is an appeals board. We're not the police, we're not anything other than that. We just hear the facts of the case and try to come up with a solution for it, okay? So to answer your question, who the enforcement person is, it's a zoning enforcement agent, which happens to be the building commissioner, the gentleman.
So that person is not here for us to speak to. Clear on that, right?
This wouldn't be the platform in which you to speak to him.
Yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't, he's a zoning, he does the complaint. We hear the appeal from the applicant, okay? He doesn't, if we have a question for him, he may answer it, but he doesn't have input into the cases as to deciding it or getting into conversations as to what would happen with this, that, and the other thing. That would be something after the fact that you would handle in his department.
Right. The building inspector is,
I know it's frustrating, I'm just trying to give you a straight.
And then we can't speak to that person about our police.
You're assuming that it's approved. You're way before that point,
Scenario
so.
where if it is approved, I had posed the question because I want to know if it's approved, what is that process? And it seems appropriate that these two jobs intertwine and that maybe those types of questions would be posed in this forum with the zoning board and that maybe it would have been applicable, that this question might come up so that we would have some reassurance.
Again, complaints, you'd put in a written complaint, and that would go to the zoning. I know it's frustrating, but you're asking what the process is. I'm trying to help you and explain it, and then I don't know any other way to explain it, but to tell you how it works, right? So a written complaint gets put in, the zoning official would go investigate that complaint, see if it's valid or not, and if it was valid, then a violation would be given to them.
So I just want to make one more comment. That, what you're saying, that scenario puts neighbor against neighbor, and I'm personally feeling this situation right now. You know, this, for some reason, I have felt the wrath of this whole situation because my name was put out as the person who complained, wherein it was not just myself. And so what you're saying is this is putting neighbor versus neighbor. We have to complain, and we're trying to live in a peaceful, you know, we all just want to live in peace and harmony, enjoy our homes, and not have to police each other. So that's very discouraging, and I'll just leave it at that.
So is sitting in this seat, because like you said, that you get repercussions from things that you say and you do, right? So you're dealing with one case, and I'm not typically too popular because I try to be honest and I try to speak my mind as to what I think it is. So I hear what you're saying. I'm just trying to explain to you what the process is. I'm not trying to be difficult with you. You asked the question. I'm trying to help you understand
Let me address
it.
the board about policing. When I first started, I was coming to the property with it because I didn't know any better. And when we received the complaint notice, that's when I took steps. I obtained my lot where I keep all my storage inventory. And since then, there was only one instance where I had an emergency situation where I had to drop the truck at my house for a couple hours. And then besides that, there's never been another container since then. And there never will be. This is strictly just to build my personal garage for my house for storage and to put the trucks inside. But no container will ever come back through the property. And I told the building inspector when we received the enforcement that I'm never going to come back with one, and I plan to uphold that. Sorry, but, you know, we are putting quite a bit of money into the property, building the garage, making it look like the house with the asphalt driveway. I just did a nice pool. So I wouldn't come back through the property to rip my yard back up and destroy things like that. And that could be another reassurance to people to know that.
Gentleman in the blue shirt in the center.
yeah, go ahead, sir.
Nick Nason, 11 Old Carriage Lane. Can you go into some detail about what the special permit is? Does it expire? What does it allow? So, you know, over over a period of time, does he have to come back and reapply for the permit? How does that work?
Okay.
The specifics, what that permit is going to allow to be put on the property?
Yeah, there are certain uses that are allowed by special permit. Not sure this is one of them, but, so it allows residents to come in. Typically, it's different than this particular case. Often it's somebody who's an outside sales consultant and they want to work out of their house, and they're allowed to do that under home occupation with a special permit. But this is definitely different. Also, a special permit can be limited to with conditions. So we could do things like restrict the hours of operation, have off-street parking, maximum number of vehicle trips, and such a special permit would be good for 5 years. Would need to be renewed every 5 years. That's pretty much where it's at. Go ahead.
And just one follow-up, if the permit is issued, is there any appeal process by the residents if it does get issued?
There is, yes. Ma'am?
Joanne Nason. My question is, the purpose of the 3,000 square foot building that you're putting up is to put trucks in. Is that not a trucking company that you're going to pull that big red truck out and drive up Cobblestone or drive around Carriage Lane? There's lots of kids. It's a concern.
Sure.
My other
Go ahead.
question is, there's a lot of neighbors here, and maybe they're not all speaking, but there's a reason they're here.
If I may address, so this one truck, it weighs 9,000 pounds. Me driving through the neighborhood is no more dangerous than your average UPS truck or a trash truck coming through, or even the Amazon delivery trucks that back up. You know, I've always done well below the speed limit. All the vehicles are under my control. So yes, the garage is 2,000 square feet, not 3,000, and it's 3 bays because I have 2 trailers in the truck. So the 2 trailers will go in the truck. And I'm putting it in the garage so that it's out of sight. So when you drive through the neighborhood, it doesn't look like a truck stop or anything. And it's one thing where it's not really a trucking company, it's me, myself. Like, I'm the owner, I'm really the only employee. My dad is close to retiring. And I have no plans of expanding. It's just me really running my property maintenance of my building, taking care of things there, and then doing my shipping container rentals that I do and different job sites like that. So I don't have employees coming to the house. I don't have other cars parking on the streets. It's just my one truck and my trailer and me.
And I believe the plan that I saw, the garage has about 2,000 feet of slab,
Yep.
and then there's another 2,000 above it.
So what we did there is because I just want our house, you get things start stacking up over time. I don't have much storage space. So this is just going to be, that's why it's personal use. It's mostly my personal storage. If I have toys inside, like a motorcycle, things like that, hobbies. Now, the garage is that big only to fit the trailer. Because that one gooseneck trailer needs about 40 feet to get in. So that's the only reason that I have it that length, so I can fit the 2 trailers in and be able to close the doors and nothing is left out in the yard. The driveway will actually go up, and then there will be about 30 feet of a square of another driveway where you can turn, get in. So no turns are being made on Cobblestone or anywhere else. Everything is done on my property.
Okay. Anybody else would like to speak?
Mr. Chair?
Yep, sir.
My name is Valerio Chola from 15 Cobblestone Lane, and I'm the most recent resident on the neighborhood. And I just have a question to the residents. We all signed that contract when we first moved in, or saw it, some form of it. The question that I have for you guys is, do you all abide by that contract to the letter? By show of hands.
You know what, this isn't the time or place for that, sir. You're talking about a civil situation. We're here to deal with the application in front of the
At
board.
the end of the day, I feel like he's explained his approach to this. While I'm not his immediate neighbor, he's actually building a building to secure, to ensure that everything is not visible to the public. Most of the people in the neighborhood own big trucks. We all own big trucks. How different is his truck to our trucks? So just think of it, being fair, trying to be fair. Does it make sense?
Sir?
Ross Tubo, 43 Old Carriage Lane, right at the corner of Cobblestone and Old Carriage. Just a point of clarification, is the building already approved by the building department? We came and looked at the plans, and they said that the building was already approved, and this appeal was to allow the trucks to be there? Is that correct?
I don't have the answer to that. I only know what comes before the board, so I'm sure the building inspector could tell you.
I can address that.
Yep, go ahead.
So last week, we actually finished with conservation. I had a river we had approved, there wasn't a river, and we got our DEP numbers, everything is signed off by conservation there. So the next step, it's just under the building department review, which after speaking with the building inspector, the meeting really was strictly just for me to put the vehicles inside the garage. There was no limitations to how big of a garage I could have built, only its use, which is why we're here at this meeting tonight.
Yeah. Sir?
So Brian Anderson, 24 Old Carriage Lane. Agree from the standpoint of the aesthetics, we all saw the document. Big trucks don't have a big truck, but I don't think that we all have them, right? I appreciate what you're thinking about doing around trying to keep it a nice looking neighborhood. And this may or may not have any impact on anything, but my greatest concern through the whole thing is the safety. You talk about a big truck, but you attach a trailer to it, that adds a whole nother level of safety in my mind. If you're leaving first thing in the morning, coming home later in the afternoon, whether Monday, Friday, whatever day that it is, there are a lot of young kids in the neighborhood. We all have dogs. We're all out walking them first thing in the morning and in the afternoon. So from a safety standpoint, I don't know how you monitor it, look at it, not trying to go against you for driving, but I have a big concern of trucks with trailers coming through the neighborhood whenever, just as a safety concern. Just wanted to put that on the record.
All right. Ma'am?
Amanda King, 23 Cobblestone Lane. Speaking in regards to safety, I have 5 sons. They are younger. They do play in the neighborhood. They ride their bikes. I'm not concerned about the safety of him driving a vehicle because it can happen to everybody. I'm also a registered nurse. I do see accidents happen all the time, and it could be as simple as somebody just not paying attention. There are commercial vehicles that come through, whether it's Amazon, trash trucks, everything. I don't believe that safety is as much as a concern, and I do agree that aesthetically pleasing, him placing his trucks and trailers in a garage is a better option than having them sit on the streets or in the driveway. I don't feel that safety should be our #1 concern because accidents happen all the time. And it can happen from anybody. There are people in cars that fly through the neighborhood. It does not necessarily mean that nothing could happen. And trust me, my kids are my top priority. And the safety of them is my top priority. But nothing that he has done has shown that he is unsafe in any way.
Okay.
Gentleman in the center.
Go ahead, sir.
Anthony Jennings, 12 Meeting House Lane. Priority, or safety is my #1 priority for this neighborhood, bottom line. And my observations, I just wanted to let the board know, is when he does have his trailer with the big red one that is hauled by, I believe, a Ram truck, when he comes off of Franklin to Cobblestone, there has been occasions, definitely on my own, where I have not been able to go left and I've had the posit even scoot back so he could come through and make that distance. That's the same intersection where there's also a bus stop.
Okay.
There's a woman behind the big guy.
Yeah, ma'am?
Linda Bauer, 31 Cobblestone. So just referring to Appendix A of the Schedule of Use Regulations, is the question here whether this falls under C16, contracting business and equipment storage yard? Because it looks very clearly like that is just not allowed in our rural agriculture.
That's what I had brought up at the very beginning. That's what my
So I
My
guess
question
my
is-
question is kind of around that, are what we discussing technically fall into contracting business and equipment storage yard, in which case the regulation clearly says it's not permitted.
I personally am not convinced that it's a contracting business in any way. It's a trucking company. And it clearly, there's a definition here that, in the zoning book that describes a contracting business and a landscaping business, and neither one of them fall under what this gentleman's operating.
So given that this is essentially a single line item, contracting business and equipment storage yard, it feels like an equipment storage yard to some extent. So I guess, does it kind of fall under that piece of it?
I don't believe so. I was actually, I'm going to date myself, but I've been here 25 years. And when this first came up, came up because there were people, contractors, who had small dump trucks, meaning 1 ton or 2 ton. There was landscapers that had the same, and they were small businesses, and the owners wanted to bring their small vehicles home, but none of them were, I'm not sure how long your trailers are, but none of them were anything near that when this was approved. It was to allow a mason to bring home his small little dump truck, or to allow other type of contractors. So I'm not convinced that it falls under a contracting business, but you certainly can call it whatever you like.
So if I may respond.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I talked to my attorney about that too, just because there was quite a lot of money we put into trying to get everything for the garage situated, so I want to cover all my dots and Ts. When we discussed it, he indicated to me that contracting meant when you receive a contract to perform such a business, you would be considered a contractor. Now, it's not, a trucking company I would view as you're moving commodity items, you get hired on load boards, you move a bunch of different products. I'm not that. I'm not for hire, so I'm not on load boards. I don't do anything besides my personal property. I own the containers that I go and I deliver, and I don't, they're nobody else's property. It's just mine. So as a trucking company, I think I guess I'm different. I'm not falling within normal business, basically. And again, it's just me, myself. There's no employees. My father's about to retire. So as a business standpoint, it's nothing that's expanding. It's really just me making ends meet day to day.
However, you may not live there forever. When someone else gets a 40 by 50 garage, 35 feet high,
Wow. That's why there's car enthusiasts. Everybody loves the garage.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, sorry about that. You can take his question first, and I'll make my comment. Go ahead. Oh, you were scratching your head?
Yeah, but I'll ask the question anyway.
All right, go ahead.
So Mike Freitas, 32 Old Carriage Lane. Kind of with the permit, just kind of following up on Nick's question on the permit, is that granted to Scott, or is it granted to the property? To the owner or to the property?
to the applicant.
Okay, so if he moves, permit's null and void as well. In 5 years' time, he also has to come back through same process?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you do grant a permit with restrictions on it, and they're not being followed, what's the process? Can that be revoked early because of violations of the restrictions on a permit?
It would go to the building inspector, and theoretically, I guess he should fine the person on a daily basis, which should deter most people.
Yep.
And if not, as long as I've been here, I've never seen one, taken back. But I guess it's a possibility. Anybody?
So if everybody's all done,
Margaret, did you have something?
you got a lady back there too.
Yep.
Stacy at Act 1 Cobblestone Lane. So we're talking about you could place conditions. Can you place?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
You're talking about you could place conditions on the permit? Could
Right.
you place a condition where it's temporary for 6 months, a year?
Normally, it's good for 5 years. I don't know if we can make it less than what the regulations say. Margaret, you have a
Yeah,
question?
question for the applicant. How many vehicle trips per day are you in and out of there with the trailers?
No more than 2. So typically what I do is I line up my first drop around 9 a.m. I leave the house. I'm loaded by 10:30, 11 I do a drop, and then I'll have another one in the afternoon. So if I come back, and then sometimes the rollback will go back, or we both go out in the morning time, and I'm both back by 2 o'clock. So I don't come through 5, 6 times or anything like that. I leave once or twice, and it takes me maybe 30 seconds to come into the neighborhood, back into my driveway, and everything's put away. It's not a long, tedious process.
So what do you do, come back to switch trailers, or
Exactly.
you're coming back
So
empty?
with the Ram, we can use a 38-foot trailer. Now, the other trailer I have is only 23 feet long. That doesn't typically move at all, because that's a backup in case my rollback is ever down. So we're usually running the rollback. If that fails or it's in a shop, I just use my small trailer in place of that truck. So that's more of just a contingency.
Okay.
Thank you. Ma'am?
Just one more comment for the board. 11 Cobblestone Lane does not have any streetlights. You come into our property at 3 o'clock on a winter night, and it's there, you cannot see in front of you. Our homes are all lit like by frontage lights because it's that dark. There are no streetlights. So I just wanted to let the board know that.
Okay.
So if they're all done, I'll make my comment.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, by the applicant's own description, he's adamant about the fact that he's a contracting business. I'm still going to go back to Appendix A, 16, contracting business or equipment storage is not allowed under NRA. Now, I understand in 3.2.1, as in under accessory uses, it calls it out residential areas. I would prefer to have input from town council, land use council, as to, does that apply and overrule this appendix table before I could make a decision on that,
That's a good point.
because they conflict each other. So,
If that's the case, we would need time to get a response from town council, which would mean we'd have to continue the meeting. So I don't,
If I may, one more. When the equipment storage yard violation came, that was because there was the container there at that time. When I spoke with the building inspector, since I don't have anything there, I'm not storing anything besides those vehicles, is it really a storage yard? Because it's not.
it's not a storage yard, so first of all, wait 1 second, Jim.
Good.
By your own comments, you're telling me you're a contracting yard, and that's how I'm viewing it. The
Nice.
very first thing here says contractor, right? You're saying you're a contractor. This use table tells me that you can't do it in RA. So
I see.
I won't make a decision tonight without having any input from town council, okay? If I'm forced to make a decision tonight, you're not going to be happy with it, right? And I won't be forced to make one. I'll abstain from a vote, which is basically a no vote anyways. So for fairness to everybody sitting in this room and yourself as an applicant, I try to do my due diligence and make sure that I have a factual response to why I make my opinion and my vote on it. I can't make one based on your testimony and what I see in front of me, right? And then I have two conflicting things in this book, so I need somebody that gets paid a lot more money than I do to give me their professional opinion and some guidance so that I can make a better decision.
Sure. One more thing, if I may. So are you saying that technically I should get a reclassification for myself?
No, what I'm telling you, is you are the one that filled out this book
Correct.
right here. You're telling me you're a contracting business, okay? That's what we're hearing tonight. That's what we're going to make a decision on. You don't get to just change this now because this has been advertised, you applied, and that's what we're here to decide on. So you can't, oh, no, that doesn't work, so I'm going to do this instead.
Yep.
We don't do it that way. So, sorry to interrupt you, Jim.
That's fine. So you keep saying containers, containers, but it's also the truck. It's the size of the truck. The truck still is a 26,000 GVW truck.
Right.
And by this rule, it doesn't look like it can be done anyway.
Well, yeah, 26,000 you can,
Or under, correct.
maybe, because we got two
That's what
conflicting
I'm saying.
sections. So
not sure.
3.2.1 says yes under accessory use, Appendix A says no, all right? So that's where I need some clarification, but it's not only the GVW of the trucks, right? And nobody's picked up on what he said. One of the trailers is 40 feet long. Everybody might have a big truck in their yard, but I don't have a 40-footer, and I got a pretty big truck. It's sitting out in the driveway. It's in the parking lot. A 40-footer is a big trailer.
I think Mike's made a good point, and we probably should seek counsel. Does the board feel that way?
Yes.
If that's the case, someone can make a motion, we'll continue the meeting until October 2nd, and we'll either have town council attend the meeting, or we'll get a written opinion from town council prior to the meeting. So, that makes sense?
Yeah, that gentleman's been patient. I shut him off before, so, in the red truck.
Follow-up. So this flyer here talks about more than one vehicle, 32 Old Carriage Lane. If this is denied, is he still allowed to park one vehicle?
Well, in the regulation that Mike is referring to, he cannot.
Okay.
So,
That's the problem, is I have two different opinions in this book. I need somebody to referee it.
the book does contradict itself
Yep.
in two different spots, so. So I'll entertain a motion for a continuance.
I'll make a motion to continue case number, right here, 2024-09. So we can get input from town council.
Okay, and that would be until October 2nd at 7 PM.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick, second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the meeting's continued till October 2nd. Everybody's welcome to come back, and we will either have a town council present, or we'll get a written opinion from the town council, and then hopefully make a decision that evening.
Okay, thank you very much.
Just a comment, I know everybody's frustrated going through this, but trying to be as fair as possible and do the right thing. That's all that's going now.
Welcome.
Yeah. So you can read that two different ways. That's
Yeah.
the problem I have with it.
The chart, and then the
Right.
Yeah, I didn't see the other part. I was looking at the, wow.
I should have commented to the neighbors. Overall, they were very polite to the whole process.
That's the way they should
It
be.
wasn't a rock fight like we
So
typically get.
do I recuse myself now before the other one starts?
As soon as we open it up.
Then I recuse.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Yeah. Damn.
Okay, the next agenda item is a public hearing for Norma Aldridge, case number 2024-11, 58 Cottage Colony. She's looking for an addendum to the special permit.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would like to recuse myself since I had involvement in this project early on.
Okay, we'll make a note of Margaret has recused herself from this case. And, all right. Mr. Pasiak?
Yes. So we're here to, because the building inspector, when we actually get permission from you to do this house over again, we had the plans and everything, but we did not have a roof over the front door. Okay.
Right.
And we had to come here the last time to get permission to put the steps up there.
Right.
The roof was already there when we put the steps up there. So Mr. Frazier said you have to get permission to keep the roof on.
Right. Yep.
So that's what it looks like now.
Okay.
And there was one other thing that he said when we originally did the plan, we left out, I don't know how that happened, but there was a set of stairs on the back deck. The deck was there, but it didn't show where the stairs came down. So we did actually do the stairs on the deck. And this is the as-built that was actually done by Margaret. That's why she's not
Yep,
involved.
understood, yep.
But that's the as-built, and that's the roof. So these are all the distance to the road. And actually, like everything else on the lot, all the distances actually go too close to the sideline, but that's grandfathered.
Right, that's-
This thing is,
right.
this, her property is 85, owns the oldest piece of property on the street. She's been there for 85 years. Her father, now it's her. Her daughter-
I don't think she's been there 85 years. Well, I don't think she's been there 85
She's not a day over
No, I said the
65.
property's been there for 85.
Oh, the property might be,
Her
yeah.
father owned it first, she has it now, and her daughter's sitting there as well.
Okay, good.
Thought about it, 1930.
We actually have a picture of the front steps and there's a picture of the back steps.
Okay.
So,
82 years.
All right, so there's another picture of the steps in the back. You want to pass it around?
Excuse me.
And they're looking to amend the special permit we gave them. We gave it based on the plan that was drawn, and it didn't have a covering over the roof. And it also didn't have a set of stairs on the back.
and we just feel the roof is most important to keep the ice and snow off the steps.
No, understood. Yep.
A cheat.
They're on there.
They're on the plan that I gave him, but they weren't on the, when I gave him the first thing, it didn't show on the layout when you
yeah.
guys
See,
approved.
this was-
When you guys approved the first one, I had the deck on there, but there was never any steps, but they were on the plan. Right.
Yeah, so,
See, what I'm saying is, when we gave you this plan the
Right.
first time, these steps weren't on there, but
Right.
they were on that, they were on
here,
that, right?
okay.
So Mr. Frazier said, you don't even have them on the plot plan.
so we could make a motion to amend the special permit to include the roof over the front porch, and just to keep things simple, say, we'll reference this plan showing the steps coming off the back deck.
That's the as-built plan. 'Cause
Yeah.
the first time we gave you, it didn't show that.
You leaving? Yep.
What I'm looking at was how this, see how they used to came down on the side, now they just come up the street.
Yeah.
That's what I
Just
know,
that
I was
copy?
looking at that,
Well,
that's all.
yeah.
That's what I was.
Just that copy?
Yeah, well, actually, I gave one to Mr. Frazier.
Okay.
He wanted it, and I kept that one for me, but if you need to keep that, he has it.
It's fine. I'll tell you, why don't I keep it, and if he's already got
Yeah, you can come
that,
back and get one.
you can pick it up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
All right. Okay, so, does anyone want to make a motion on this?
So the reason I'm
Amendment?
is because he only gave us a temporary occupancy until you guys approved this, then he'll give us a permit.
Yeah, he told me that.
Okay.
You just give me a minute, I just want to see what's written in here.
Thing is, we just can't issue special permits and then have people do something different. That's the bottom line. It's not,
I know, and that was left out by mistake on the thing. I don't know how they.
and we understand that those things happen. We get it. We just can't just say, oh, okay, forget it, because,
You did let all the neighbors know, and actually, none of the neighbors had any problem with anything. That's
Nope.
why none of them showed up.
Yep.
We were gonna bring them on to help us.
No,
cheer it on,
understood.
But that, they didn't show up.
No, we're good.
So how do you want this worded?
Well,
Guess,
it's, so if he uses, he's going to make a motion to approve case number 2024-11 as submitted, right? Because in here, he's asking for permission to leave the porch roof, posts, and handrail on the house, permission to leave the deck stairs as built, right? In the back. And it says the roof was not on the plan, the front steps were permitted by the board, right, which we did.
We did.
Right? Just a little warning to you. We're only approving the picture, not the construction of it, right? And the challenge you're gonna have, and we talked about this the last time you came in, is because you're on the corner of the septic tank. Remember, I said to you, wait a minute, let me finish. I said to you that you showed us the picture, the roof was already on the house, and we overlooked that, and we agreed to the stairs. I said, because you don't have posts coming down, it's not considered part of the structure. If you had posts on there, it would be part of the structure. So then you come back and you put posts on there, and you made it part of the structure, which, by building code, you're gonna require proper footings underneath this, and then you're not supposed to be within 10 feet of the septic tank.
But the posts are not really supporting that. It's not, it supports itself.
That's between you and the building department to argue out, okay?
Mr. Ferry.
I'm just making it clear to you that when let's assume that we approve this, right?
Yeah.
That you get it approved, we're only approving the cartoon, not how it's constructed. We don't give variances on building codes or anything like that. This is purely a zoning variance that we're approving for you. So I'm just forewarning you, so on a special permit, I'm just forewarning you that you can't say, well, they approved it, we can keep it. You still have to follow building code. So I'm just making sure you're aware of that, that's all.
you discuss that with the building commissioner, and I'm sure you two can figure it out.
Because it'll get frustrating. You go there and you'll say, they approved it. No, we approved where you can put it, not how you put it.
Okay, well, he didn't come this time. He was here last time.
Yep.
So so if you're okay, and he'll talk, I'll talk to him anyway, because he's gonna issue her
Yep.
an extension on the thing, but you don't have a problem with it, so that's a good thing anyway.
Well, we haven't got to that part.
Yeah,
I'm
we need a
assuming
motion.
that's what it's gonna be, but I'm
Yeah.
I'm trying to help you so you don't get frustrated going in there thinking that we said you can go ahead and do it. We don't have control over the building code.
No, so
So-
basically, we're asking for forgiveness instead of permission.
For this portion of it,
For
but
what
you
we
still
did,
have
yeah.
to, you still have to deal with the building code with the building inspector.
Okay, so-
So I don't want you to think that we misled you and said that you can have something that we don't have control over.
So
We
if
can
I-
tell you can put it there, we can't tell you how to put it there.
No, but well, the reason too is because I didn't really want her to step off 1 foot step and fall off the steps. That's why there's a railing on it, so we connected it.
Yeah, we understand.
We get all that. I
Yeah, 'cause
just,
if I just left the roof there and you walked out of there, you could actually fall off any part of that if you didn't go down the steps.
Mm-hmm.
And we did put a handrail on the house so you can walk down the step. It's only 1 step, but you still gotta hold on.
get it all makes logic to me. I'm just
Okay.
telling you
Okay, all
the
right.
obstacles you're gonna have to go through. I'm trying to help you,
Okay,
believe it or
okay,
not.
you
So
understand.
Ronnie has something for you.
Well, I want to know what the obstacles are. Is this what is there now?
That's exactly what's here now.
So all you need is the building inspector to go there and approve it or make changes.
Well, the problem.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
what I'm saying, Ronnie, is you can have your roof, you can have your stairs, we can't tell them that you're you can have it and don't have to adhere to building code. I'm telling him because building code says you can't be within 10 feet, a foundation or a footing within 10 feet of your septic tank, okay? You can't use your septic tank for support.
Support, yeah,
Right.
right, that makes common
Right.
sense, yeah.
So I'm just trying to help him so he doesn't go in there thinking something different. This is just something he has to get past and talk to the building inspector and figure out how to get there.
But the septic system is not really supporting, I mean, the steps really supports it, doesn't it? No?
Yep, that's between you and the building inspector. Again, I'm trying to make sure that, I want you to go in there with your eyes open, that's all. That's all I'm
Yeah,
trying to do.
well,
I'm
I've
not
been
trying
in
to,
them many times.
not trying to complicate it, I'm trying to make sure that you're aware of it, right?
Okay,
So,
So the building inspector is going to go over.
the building code with them, yeah? He'll come up with a conclusion. There's creative ways he can do it.
And what is the main problem with this now?
Because the roof, because of the posts going to the stairs from the roof, it makes
on
it
the
a
little
structure. It creates a structure by definition, provides shelter.
But that's truly between the building commissioner and.
Correct.
And the
Correct.
applicant. So for us to discuss it, I don't think is,
Doesn't affect us.
Yeah.
doesn't affect us.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if I do go back to him, if you guys gave it an okay, you gave that part of it an okay, so it's really in his hands, so he can say, that's fine to leave it like that, or he can tell me something else. But he'd be the one to do that, because what happened...
It wouldn't
the
be
last-
us.
What happened is why I'm here is because the last time he came to that house to give us a final inspection, when she opened the door for him, the first thing that he said to her is, you got to take that roof off of there. Got her all upset because he never even looked at the house. Instead of going in and saying, this may not work, would you please, ask the board to let us know? But he was very sharp with her, and she got very upset with that, and she said, fine, is that it? And she shut the door in his face because, he upset her. And I really think that was no way to handle it.
You have to discuss that with him, not with
I
us.
know, and we already did, and we apologized, I
Okay.
apologized for him
Right.
on my half, but,
Yeah.
I said
Yeah.
that we will go through the motions with you guys,
Yep.
and that's what I got, the as-built for him, and we came here tonight and we did our thing, so.
Okay.
it's-
My comments were only to help you understand what to
understand that. I
anticipate.
understand
That's
that. I
it, nothing more, nothing less. So Ronnie, you would make a motion to approve case number 2024-11 as submitted, or you can say so moved.
So,
Or I can say it's,
You can say so moved, and that
Because
just
he just
repeats
said
what
it.
I
yeah,
said.
so moved, yeah.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Forget, seconded by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, you're good.
I managed not to cry.
Good. Well, good luck. I hope you enjoy your new home.
Okay, so you're gonna hold on to that?
I am. But
Yeah.
if they already have one, I'm sure they'll give it back to you. All right. And the next agenda items are to review the minutes of, what's on my agenda? The minutes of August 7th.
Yeah. Regular meeting minutes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
the minutes. So should that say from, no,
Yeah,
that's the only thing.
yeah,
Just, I think that's.
Yep, yep.
Right?
yeah.
What are you saying in the,
So, under number one, it says James Palmer, form alternate, it should say from alternate member to
alternate.
full.
Right, to,
Yep.
Good catch.
well, it just shows I read them.
Good.
You had plenty of time.
Yeah.
We're just going to approve the minutes, which You weren't at that meeting, so.
Right. What's the North Brown LLC?
What is it?
Yeah,
That's that 40B project on North Street.
so we're not talking about that tonight.
We might have a little discussion about it.
Oh, okay, so you're not there
Well,
yet, I'm
usually
sorry.
we use, the building commissioner updates us,
Yeah,
as well as a report from the engineer, so.
Yeah, which,
He's not here tonight, and I just,
how you looking on the minutes? Good, Ron?
Yeah.
Want to make a motion on them, Jim?
Yeah, just as submitted?
Yeah, as amended.
As amended, okay.
yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to accept the August 7th meeting minutes as amended.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Palmer to approve the minutes of August 7th as amended. We have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Forget. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
Then we had minutes from an executive session that we had.
When, just for the benefit of our fellow members, when we have executive minutes, especially in something like this that's still in litigation, when you make the motion, it's to approve the executive meeting minutes of August 7th, 2024, as written and retain.
As written and what?
And retain, which means we won't release them until whatever's on here
Yeah,
is
it's on there.
resolved.
Decided, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
I want to find out about all this stuff. Make sure he stays on it because we've got close to this. Good on those, Ron?
Yeah. Approved them. I make a motion to approve them as written
And retain?
And retain.
and retained, yeah.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Forget to approve the executive session minutes of August 7th, and it's seconded by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So, we did get something from the consulting engineer for North Brown. Usually, the building commissioner has some discussion with the engineer and with the developer. He's not here tonight to do that, so I'd be in favor of setting more time aside next month for him to discuss that
Yeah.
North Brown with us.
I agree.
Yeah.
If we could add to that and make sure that we get some input back on, because they're rapidly approaching Phase 4, and that's a big trigger point on this particular project for bonding and other requirements that they have.
Yeah, I think we talked to him about that 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And he's not here tonight to tell us
Right.
the outcome, but.
Right. Yep. No, I
Stay
just
on
want
top
to
of
stay on it until we get an answer out of it.
Agree.
so why is the zoning board involved? Because it's a 40B or something?
Because the 40B.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
We're
the only reason.
designated as the board to oversee that, per the MOU that was done in 2009,
Not the planning board?
not the planning board.
Right.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting little project.
Yeah. Been going smoother lately, but got off to a really rough start.
Yeah.
A few couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard a few stories, yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was just growing pains, but
Oh, yeah.
they're actually
Yeah,
in pretty good shape now.
Yeah.
What?
North Brown.
North Brown, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be,
Yeah.
so we don't have any other business. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I would love to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick, seconded by Ms. Bacon, and
8:14.
at 8:14. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The meeting is adjourned at 8:15.